In this video, we're going to be exploring New Austin, collecting some goodies, taking out some gang hideouts, triggering some random events, and exploring different POIs, covering as much as we can in New Austin. And there's going to be some interesting POIs that a lot of you guys might not have found, and some random events you guys might not have seen. It's going to be a lot of fun. Starting in West Elizabeth, we're at the exact spot before the game started where the gang had their camp just outside of Blackwater. If you look at that picture on the journal, you can see it perfectly lines up to this little spot here where this guy's camping. And this was actually one of the only friendly campers I've found in the game in a while. But just like the rest, after sitting with him for a while, he did recognize me. And since we're on a low honor playthrough, we can't leave any witnesses. We're going to be using Rampage Trainer, which is a mod that allows me to change many different things in the game. We're going to make it so the law ignore us and that there is no invisible sniper in New Austin. And the first place we're going to check out is the circus wagon. Just outside of Beecher's Hope, there is some wreckage, and inside one of the wagons there is a woman with two heads, the Siamese twins. We're going to be hunting down a lot of these points of interest so we can see what Arthur's sketches look like in comparison to John's. Since in the base game, you can't explore these points of interest as Arthur. We're not going to stay in West Elizabeth for very long, but we do got to stop at Manzanita Post to grab some specific collectibles. You can find a newspaper clipping, a photo under this plank on the floor here, and that's what we're going to mainly just grab is the plank on the floor. There is a lot of theories that surround these collectibles here, but that's for a different video. And since Arthur doesn't really make any comments on these, we're just going to move on to the next point of interest, which are these little tents just north of Aurora Basin. There's some man-made shelters here put up by the Native Americans from the area. Could be Skinner Brothers, but I didn't run into any. And usually you can only find them as John, so that explains it. Now the last location we're going to check out before we go on to New Austin is this well here. And everybody, when the game first came out, when people were glitching over to New Austin as Arthur, thought this was like an Undead Nightmare like teaser because of the lighting glitch on his face. But that ended up being all it was just a lighting glitch. But at least when you're down here, you can find a good fat stack of cash. Now on to one of the biggest downgrades from Red Dead Redemption 1 to Red Dead Redemption 2, we got Thieves Landing. Arthur's dialogue here perfectly explains it. A town that previously benefited the player for having low honor in the first game. A town that was full of scumbags and lawless and had one of the coolest atmospheres. I mean, anytime you'd enter this town in the first game, the weather would automatically change to overcast just to add to the atmosphere. And now it's reduced just to a plain gang hideout with half of its buildings removed and no buildings being enterable aside from the boat at the end of the dock that has some valuables.
Look at that. You're all dead.
Since Arthur is still wanted dead or alive, you will find some lawmen patrolling around New Austin looking for you, and sometimes you'll even find roadblocks. On to the next town, we got McFarland's Ranch, which is also a huge downgrade from the first game. And I know this video is about exploring New Austin as Arthur Morgan, but I can't help but express my disappointment for New Austin in this game. But on my way out, I did find a bounty hunter with a jail wagon, so that was pretty cool. The tree hermit random encounter is one of those things you think Arthur would write about in his journal, but he just doesn't. But we are going to use free cam to go check out what he looks like before he falls out. And I do got to mention that if you guys want this mod menu, because I know I might get some questions on it, you guys will need a PC, and it's one of the easiest mods to install, and it's pretty much essential. But now that we're up here, let's go ahead and drop him down and go down there with him. But outside from just witnessing this, you don't get any precious collectible or any journal entry, nothing cool. But you do get a good look at Mexico from the cliff that he's next to. And with the Mexico LOD mod, I can see all the Mexico towns out in the distance. They're very low quality if you get up close to them, but it does add to the immersion that I can see the Mexico towns from the first game. But, you know, they ain't really worth exploring because there's nobody there. It is still a very cool mod. But we're going to move on to Armadillo, which is without a doubt one of the biggest changes that they made from the New Austin in the first game, outside of Tumbleweed, but we're going to get to that later. But I'm going to go talk to some of the townsfolk so we can hear what Arthur's dialogue
You
is.
okay there, friend? You don't look too well.
Hope to see you soon.
Hello, mister.
Oh, hi.
How's it going?
Can't have long now. I can't have long.
Sorry to hear that. Good luck. Hey, friend.
Stranger?
Sorry you got it so bad here. Hope things turn around.
That is normally dialogue you'll never hear Arthur say because he's never in Armadillo to see the sick people. To see if Arthur has any comment on the strange man portrait.
You might as well grab some crackers and biscuits while you're here.
No info on the strange man, but we do gotta buy some crackers. These are also outfits that are exclusive to the New Austin General Store. Most people don't ever get to see these outfits on Arthur, and I can say that they're not very special, obviously. But we will buy a new shirt and some new pants and some new boots for the rest of this video. But we do gotta grab the collectible from the owner of the general store, Herbert Moon, before we leave. Let's go ahead and take what's in his register as well.
Armadillo needs Herbert Moon! Yes, it's all in here. Entire town of Armadillo.
Now we've collected the letter from Herbert to Huberta, and I'm not going to read this out, we won't get into it, but if you guys want to read it, you guys can pause it. Now on to one of my favorite points of interest. We got the donkey lady, which is a reference to a viral YouTube video when Red Dead Redemption 1 first came out, and this is what Arthur's sketch looks like. It's obviously way better than John's, but this is one of the most disturbing and really weird things to find, especially if it's your first time finding it. Now on to one of the best random encounters in the game at Venter's Place, which is a little ranch in the first game. Now it is occupied by the Del Lobo gang, and what we're going to do is hang outside of the cabin and listen to the dialogue, and I'm going to use free cam to see what the inside of the cabin looks like when these guys are talking.
That means we're gonna get along just fine.
I like this lady. Truly, her very much. Me too.
Oi, oi, oi. Upale, eso. Hey, hey.
Having fun without me? Cabrones, we waited, my friend. We had no fun in your absence.
Ooh, well, ain't you boys tired? I am flat worn out.
You see what you did? Put an end to the festivities?
Damn, her voice is so annoying. But after everybody is passed out, she takes all the money off of the table and loots all their sleeping bodies. And when she walks out of the cabin, we're just gonna ambush her, take her cash, and bring her along for a trip. But first we're gonna go in there and take what's inside the cabin and wake the Del Lobo gang up.
Pickings from them boys.
Arthur did have some dialogue there that most people will never hear. It's crazy to me that this game has so much unused content just locked away in the files that you can only access with different modifications to the game. But let's go ahead and go inside and take everything that they got. All the food, all the vegetables, I mean all the useless stuff, right? But I'm gonna wake him up and see if Arthur has any other dialogue.
Wake up, boys. I want to have a word with you. Oigan! Oigan!
Another bit of dialogue that most people will never hear. And this is the location if you guys want to rob this place for yourself. It's a super awesome encounter that can play out in many different ways. And now to the next point of interest, we got the flying machine, which is actually a reference to the first game, Charles, which is the character that was trying to build a plane just like this one in Mexico. And it's so nice to see Arthur's sketch of all these POIs because John's are always so sloppy. Another cool encounter close to this flying machine is this moonshine cabin that, I mean, it's always scripted that if you get close enough to it, it will explode. So we're gonna go into free cam and take a close look at it because, I mean, it's impossible to get this close to it in the base game. Everything is impressively detailed. Even the bottles on the outside have labels and stuff, but the inside has nothing in it, not furnished at all. But you know, you're never supposed to see it anyway. Inside, the only thing you can find now is rubble and a body. And there wasn't a person in there previously, so I guess that's just an asset loaded after the explosion. It's still cool to find it in here, but just to check if it's a body or a prop, we will be using the revive gun. We're gonna check if it wakes up. And it doesn't. That is a shame. The way this test works is that there's a lot of decomposed bodies around the map or like severely disfigured, and sometimes the revive gun will revive them, which means they are like an actual functioning NPC. But if it doesn't revive them, then that means they're a prop. Unlike the Siamese twins from the beginning of the video, those will actually wake up, or those twins will actually wake up if you shoot them with a revive gun. But we're gonna leave this lady here, and maybe she'll wake up, maybe not, but she probably won't cause any problem. I'm also trying to study as many New Austin animals as I can, so Arthur will do a sketch of them in the journal. And I found this happy camper out here, so we're gonna take his stuff, leave him with a headache. far west side of New Austin, you can find the gang hideout Gaptooth Breach, which also existed in the first game, and it's just way more loaded this time. There's a lot more Del Lobo gangs instead of treasure hunters, but you can't go into the mines that far. Unfortunately, it is blocked off, which is, I mean, like next level laziness from Rockstar. It is a super fun gang hideout to take out. Unfortunately, there isn't any unique collectibles, and Arthur doesn't have any unique dialogue at this gang hideout. But after you take out all of the Del Lobo gang here, there is a good amount of money in their stash in the main building, so we'll go collect that after. Inside the main building, there's a lot of cash you can grab off the table, and some coin stacks, some premium cigarettes, just a bunch of different like valuables, mostly cash. And on to the next point of interest, we got the missionary, which is one of the coolest that you can find. It's in one of the most like isolated parts of the map in New Austin, so I mean that's saying something. But after you inspect it, Arthur will draw a cool sketch of the skeleton remains, and you can tell by what the skeleton is wearing that it's very, very old clothing. And once you loot the body, there is a letter that shows you how old this guy really is. It says the year that it was written was 1797, 102 years before Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place. So it's an awesome relic you can find in the game. And the next place we got is another gang hideout, Solomon's Folly, which is a gang hideout in the first game as well. But unlike this game, it wasn't occupied by Del Lobos. I'll show you guys the rewards after we take the rest of these guys out.
I'm gonna cut you in pieces, sweetheart!
First stash you can find is inside this chimney. You can search it twice. The first time finding a gold nugget, and the second time finding a large jewelry bag. And inside the building underneath, you can find a bunch of cash and coin stacks, and some I think it was valerian roots and some different canned vegetables and stuff. But you know, all the goods is on this table, and it's just inside this little cellar. Now to my favorite town in Red Dead Redemption 2's version of New Austin, Tumbleweed. We're gonna check out the stables first because I always have the gang's horses, and I guess you can't buy them until after chapter 6 is completed, but it was worth taking a look. Just to double check with free cam, there is no horses in here outside of my one horse that I have stabled from the first chapter. But we're gonna go talk to Sheriff Freeman as Arthur and see if he recognizes us. And I just now realized that this back room here is completely unoccupied, like there's nothing back here. But either way, let's go ahead and move in there and see what Sheriff Freeman says.
Hey there.
All right, hey. Well, look who it is. Wait a minute. Shit, I do know you.
Calm
You piece
down.
of shit. Come out of hiding, huh? I suppose we'll just leave it at that then. This time.
All right.
If it ain't, you just took the wrong... I'm the new devil's waiting. I will put you down. You done your last.
It's cool to see that he does recognize us, but he does use the same voice lines that he does for John Marston in the epilogue. And now for the point of interest to Whalebones, we're going to see what Arthur's sketch looks like, then just move on. Last gang hideout we got on the list, and the most iconic from the first game and the second game's version of New Austin, Fort Mercer, occupied by the Del Lobo gang. And there is no special lines of dialogue, no collectibles, but Arthur does yell back and forth with the Del Lobo gang, so I'll let you guys have a listen. This is also the only place in the second game that has a functioning Gatling gun, which is pretty odd because it was a pretty big part in the first game. Yes, there is a lot of Maxim gun machine guns in the second game, but there's not enough Gatling guns in my opinion. Just outside Cooch Chapel, I did find another patrolling marshal, And after I took him out, there was a very large patrol of lawmen just outside of Armadillo, and I took all of them out. But it's still pretty cool to see that they have like random patrols here and there in the New Austin map, even though Arthur's never supposed to make it here. Well, I guess we explored most of what's worth exploring in New Austin. Now let's just take a look at all of the illustrations on the map from the point of interest that we studied, like the donkey woman, the flying machine, the missionary, and oddly enough, that one shelter that we found up north of Aurora Basin didn't have any map sketch, but the whale did, and so did the circus wagon. We also got a couple different legendary fish locations, but those illustrations stay the same whether or not you're Arthur or John. Let's also take a quick look at the journal, see all the animals that we studied along with all the POIs. We got the mountain lion and a bird, a California condor, a javelina, bighorn ram, a chicken, a dog, a bat, some berries, English mace, donkey woman, and that shelter. We covered a lot of New Austin in this video. I think it's cool to see stuff like this in the game that isn't able to be seen in vanilla versions of the game. It's crazy that this stuff is locked away in files and we're never meant to access it. Just remnants of cut content and I guess ambition. Makes me think how much larger this game would be if it was delayed another couple of months or even a year. Guess we'll never know. I appreciate you guys who stuck around and all you guys who subscribed these past couple of weeks. We hit 500 subscribers and I am very grateful. Having a lot of fun with YouTube, and I appreciate all you guys who've been interacting, liking the videos and leaving comments. I always appreciate it. And if you guys have any feedback, feel free to leave it down in the comments. I'm always looking to improve. But either way, I appreciate you all, and until next time.